Hello, hello. Welcome. I'm Sue Ella, and I'm a master health transformation and food relationship coach. You could say weight loss coach, but we don't focus on weight loss. The program that I coach was what changed my life 5 years ago. I was looking for a sustainable way of releasing weight because I was so sick and tired of dieting. And I knew that all the diets that I'd been on weren't working for me. And when I went through the 90-day program that I now coach, everything changed because for the first time ever, it wasn't eat like this, follow this plan and you'll lose weight and check in every week with your weight loss. It was a step-by-step process taking you incrementally towards a way of eating that feels really great in the body. This is what we were focusing on yesterday, feeling better, easing the symptoms, improving the energy, and just feeling good. And when you step by step follow a program that just helps you feel better in your body, you want to do it. You won't want to go back to the old way. And as a bonus for most people, weight releases. It's such a different angle from trying to lose weight. So that's a little bit about my background. For me, it was transformational, particularly when I realized that I wasn't stiff and achy anymore and that my allergies had even improved and a whole host of other minor things had improved that I just couldn't believe. I thought, why doesn't the whole world know about this? And I felt immediately called to start teaching others. Who do we have in the room? Would anybody like to share why they're here or what it is they're hoping to get from today?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this so much because you're already tapping into one of the secrets that I'm going to share
Yeah.
today. It's you are in the right direction. It's this natural, unprocessed, straight to the table. There's such a big part of it, and we'll go on to see why that might be. Do you know Catherine Smith from Bristol? I must introduce you. She's not actually in my case studies on these slides, but I've got a lovely testimonial from her. She's quite a bit younger than us, in her 30s, but she's been suffering with severe IBS for decades. And this completely eliminated all symptoms of IBS. I find it incredible that I'm passing on this. It just goes to show that it's so much to do about gut health and the way we're being fed in the modern world, aggravating our gut and causing these flare ups. We talked all about that yesterday. Yes, IBS is one of the key things that we see dramatic improvement with. It just feels amazing that I can say that. I've never met anybody after coaching 300 people, never met anybody who didn't release weight, never met anybody who didn't improve their IBS or digestive issues that they told me about. And I didn't meet anybody who didn't improve their energy. So, there are some key things that come from this consistently. And it's because it's targeted on your entire health, your health on a cellular level. Thanks so much for sharing, Caroline and Vita. Let me share my screen now. I will just bash through some slides. I apologize if these are a little bit repetitive for those of you who were with me yesterday. This is mainly for those who don't know me yet. Maybe they didn't attend yesterday. Yeah, that's me. I call myself a health transformation and food relationship coach. I say that there are 3 secrets. They're not secrets. I'm not keeping them secret, but most people don't know them. Most people aren't talking about these things. I'm 54. I've always had a zest for life, and that has often meant overindulgence, parties and pub meals and baking a lot of cakes and just having lots of fun, travel gastronomy and food and business events. And it's always been about the food. In terms of my weight, that did have a significant impact on me. Plus, I am naturally predisposed to carry extra weight. Some of us are genetically predisposed to carry extra weight. Most of my clients are in that bracket, but I also coach people who don't really have much of a weight problem. They're just joining because of the symptoms, energy, general health and longevity. I'm one of those that didn't have to do much wrong to gain weight. And that kind of social life I was enjoying was taking its toll. And I knew that, but I didn't know what to do with it because dieting wouldn't work for me. I couldn't do deprivation. I couldn't do willpower. But in 2020, I found this program that completely changed my life. I was only looking for weight loss, but I didn't expect to get such a complete new bill of health that I didn't know I needed. I've coached 300 people through this program. A few of them are men. The vast majority are women aged 45 to 70, in that bracket. But I've coached people of all ages, families, men, children, teenagers. You'll see my marketing is designed to resonate for women in their 50s and 60s, probably because that's who I am. 2020 changed everything. My actual transformation, if I could put it in a nutshell, yes, it was 2 dress sizes, which for me on its own was life-changing, because I'd felt so uncomfortable in my appearance and in my heaviness for such a long time and stuck. I just felt like there was nothing I could do about it. I was determined to find the answer, which is why I found this program. What was fascinating is that when we learn to eat in a much more natural way, in tune with the way the body evolved to eat, actually, we don't have the cravings. We don't have that desire for junk food. When we're eating really well, cravings and desire for the wrong things disappear. And that's amazing. That's the reason why I can manage this, because I do love to party and I do love food. Come to a slide at the end that shows you how we're able to indulge in gastronomy and all the things that we love, but without it becoming a problem, without getting back to old habits. So the fatigue went. In particular, no more afternoon slump. I couldn't believe that, because I thought the afternoon slump was normal. How many cultures around the world take an afternoon nap or a siesta? I've got a good friend, Luz, who is from Colombia, who did this program with me on my very first cohort 5 years ago. Everybody on the cohort completely eliminated their afternoon slump. And Luz said to me, do you know what? I don't need to nap in the afternoon anymore, but it's kind of an identity problem for me, because the whole of Colombia takes an afternoon nap. Who am I now? And I said, well, how do they eat? And she described a typical Colombian diet. And I'm like, well, there you go. They think it's ancestral. No, it's modern food. So it's just been a complete revelation. Energy, body confidence, and to have ditched dieting forever. Never, ever will count a calorie. Never, ever will do portion control or deprivation. It's just when you learn a way that works for your body, it's such a freedom. It's just such a weight off in more ways than one. And I can bounce if we're at concerts. I love a live concert. I'm there bouncing and I can keep going for a whole track. You know, I can bounce continually for 5 minutes. So as the message is coming across, it's all about nature. What I learned was that there's a natural way of burning fat that is programmed into nature that none of us do. And we call it spring. There is a season, a natural season, where, picture this, hunter-gatherer, roaming the earth. Now it's spring, rainy season, vegetables, and what is there to eat? There's vegetables and there's proteins, little animals and little fish and those kinds of things, birds. We would have eaten proteins and green veg. This is a season that we call spring, and spring delivers some incredible benefits like energy, fat release, and motivation. And we can actually relive that natural season of spring through the way we eat. But we didn't evolve to eat in that low carb way the whole year, because the sun would shine for 6 months of the year. And by the time autumn came, or harvest, we've got foods with a lot more sweetness, like fruits and root vegetables, put in a lot more carbohydrates into our food. And the reason the human race survived is because they were able to adapt and store fat during the harvest season to carry them through a harsh winter. Winter is a natural season of fasting, and we know that fasting has incredible health benefits. So in my quick version, we are designed to eat seasonally. Now, lucky for us, it doesn't matter if it's raining outside or snowing or summer. We can do these seasons when we choose. I'm going to teach you how to do all 4 seasons, because there are benefits to all 4. But the primary one we're talking about today is the season I call spring. It's our deep reset season. It's brilliant for burning fat, but it also is a very good season for healing, mental focus and energy. I don't hear anybody else talking about the natural season of spring anywhere in the world. This is not a gimmick. This is just modeling how we think our ancestors evolved to the best of our knowledge. Let's come to you, ladies. How do you feel about your health, and particularly your weight at this moment in time? How does that impact on your day-to-day life? How does it impact on your self-esteem, your confidence, and your body image when you look in the mirror? What's troubling you? Would anybody like to share? Yeah, Deborah. Absolutely. Well done for taking control of where you are and getting some answers. I hear you. Thanks so much for sharing what's going on. I think I shared yesterday that I was on HRT for a little while. I thought that it might help with a couple of minor things, but largely I've been managing my symptoms with my diet for 5 years now. And from what I've seen, not just from my own experience, but from hundreds of women I've coached, this really does alleviate so many of the symptoms. So I really hope that I'm confident that there's a lot more that can be done to help you with this, as well as releasing weight as a lovely bonus side effect. That's exactly it. And that's what this is all about. It's releasing weight as a side effect, not making it the main thing. Thanks so much for sharing, and sorry for everything you've been through. Hopefully we are coming through it now and everything's positive moving forward.
Thank you.
Let me go back to sharing my screen. What would it feel like if we could become that healthier, more vibrant, authentic selves? That's how I felt. When I released 2 dress sizes, not only did it improve my energy and health, but releasing that weight made the difference between looking in the mirror and going, oh, what am I going to wear to cover this? What have I got that's baggy, that is glamorous? I always want to look good, want to look well dressed, but I can't cling to the lumps and bumps. And I'd end up wearing something that I felt just really doesn't do me any favors. People would say, it doesn't do you any favors when you wear that big baggy stuff. I'd say, yeah, but you want to see me in tight stuff. It was disappointing the whole time. Releasing 2 dress sizes, going down from an 18 to a 14 was life-changing. When I look in the mirror, it's not about what anyone else thinks. It's about when I look in the mirror, I go, yeah, that's me. That's what I want to look like. And I can wear almost whatever I want now. I mean, I've still got some restrictions because I still don't like the tops of my arms. Who does? But generally speaking, I'm really, really happy when I look in the mirror, and I've got a whole wardrobe of things that I feel confident in. It's that confidence and authenticity. So who would like to share? What difference would it make to you if you could get a little bit of what we've been talking about? Sending love, darling. Thanks so much for sharing. And yeah, absolutely. The kind of being heavier and that having a debilitating effect on the things that we're trying to do. It's a huge thing, isn't it? It does make us a little bit more immobile. Now, it's important to know that contrary to what mainstream health professionals will make you think, weight is not the cause of our problems. Weight is not the cause of our arthritis. Weight is not even the cause of our diabetes. Food is the cause of our arthritis and our diabetes and our aches and pains. Weight is another side effect, another symptom. But that said, if we do release the weight, as well as reducing inflammation because of the better way we're eating, releasing that weight as a welcome side effect will take the pressure off the joints, and it will make us feel lighter and more mobile. Eating in a way that's much more supportive for your body is going to absolutely help you with your recovery. We need to talk about timing because it's just not quite ideal timing with the program starting at the end of January, but we're going to have a chat about that. Are you coming on this weekend? We're all going on a lovely circle weekend. Karen, me, and a few of our circle ladies from one of many. So that'll be lovely this weekend. So we'll have a better chat then. Thanks for sharing. Let's go on to why diets fail. For me, my experience with all kinds of diets, but I'm particularly talking about the ones where you weigh in and go on a Monday afternoon and you have to weigh, and then there's a little lesson. And if you haven't lost 2 pounds, it's a little bit like, oh, you need to try harder then, don't you? You're given a plan to follow. So you've got to weigh and measure or count or track. And if you want to have some freedom, you've got to save up for it. It just didn't work for me. It left me feeling deprived. I felt like I was useless because I didn't have any willpower. I'll tell you what my latest take on that is everyone in the room is a confident, independent woman, right? We are all confident, independent women. We're rebels, right? I don't know if you are, but I'm a bloody rebel. That's why I had no willpower, because actually nobody's going to tell me to do something that doesn't sit well with me. And it didn't sit well with me because the kind of way they were trying to get me to eat, I didn't believe in. I didn't believe in low fat. I didn't think it was healthy. I didn't believe in eating powder as a snack. And I didn't believe in filling my plate with potatoes, rice, and pasta. I didn't think it was right. And so I was a rebel. I was like, I'm not doing this. Yes. The tracking and measuring. You know, I did Zoe. A lot of respect for Zoe scientists. Tim Spector, love his books. A lot of respect. The gut microbiome, they're pushing it, is really, really important. But I couldn't do the tracking. I just couldn't get in the app every single day, especially if you cook from scratch. Tracking that is hard work when you've made something with lots of ingredients. If you just buy in ready meals, it's easy. You just scan it and it's logged. But the tracking was hard work. Noom was the other thing that didn't sit well for me. Big changes all at once. So being told, well, all of a sudden, now you're going to have to eat like this. All of a sudden, now you're going to have to start cooking everything from scratch. And it nothing like the way you normally eat. That didn't feel sustainable. Whereas on the program that I coach, we just make one change at a time, one change per week. So it always feels doable. So it's that, oh my God, how the hell am I going to do this? Versus, oh, well, this is nice and doable. What's next? The other key thing is that success on diets is based on your weekly weight loss. Now, that doesn't make any sense because the body gets, well, for a start, when I get people drinking 2 litres of water a day, do you know what 2 litres of water weighs? Does anyone know? 2 kilograms. 2 litres of water weighs 2 kilograms. So as soon as you're properly hydrated, if you're doing everything well, your scale weight is going to go up. Now, you're getting all the wrong messages if you're told to weigh every week. Okay. So I get people to stay off the scales and forget about the number on the scales. You can feel when you're releasing weight because you feel better in your clothes. We don't need to worry about it. It can give you the wrong messages. It can send you down the wrong path. It basically unhelpful feedback. Plus, it makes you feel like a failure. For me, it turned me into a cheat. Yes, absolutely. And when we gain health and we learn to break free from the food industry that's making us unhealthy, that's when weight releases. So I love that approach. And although, yes, I do have a very good pair of scales here, we encourage people to stay off them for that reason. We're not obsessing over the number on the scales. Deborah, what did you want to share? Before they weighed. I mean, we can laugh at it now, but at that time, it just felt desperate. You know, to be honest with you, I felt desperate. And it just doesn't make any sense. It's just not helpful. Thanks so much for sharing those amusing stories. And another one of the ways that it just wasn't helpful, I couldn't quite articulate this in those days, but I recognized it. It ignores the emotional reasons for eating. How many of us eat for protein, fiber, and vitamins? We do our best, don't we? Especially during the daytime, a lot of us, and we'll do our lunch, a nice healthy lunch, and a lot of us will like do a good dinner. But then we sit down and it's like, oh, what can I have? Chocolate, biscuit. Is there anything left over from Christmas? The problem with dieting is it tries to make you feel bad about that. The way I coach is this: inside us all is the short-term character that wants the cake, the chocolates, the convenience, and indulgence. This character is a little bit like a child, doesn't really know what's good for us. But then you've got the other side, which is our healthy long-term side. And what I do is I get these talking to each other. Most of us that have been dieting for many years, we're just being told that the side that wants the biscuits, the chocolate, the alcohol, whatever it is, the convenience, the takeaway, that side is should be shamed. Should be ashamed of yourself. And Slimming World and all those, bosh, ignore, just pretend that doesn't exist. We resurrect that side and we go, let's listen to this side. We listen to what the needs are. What are the emotions? What are the stresses? What is causing the compulsion? And let's remember the healthy long-term side. And when we get a decent, functional conversation going between these two sides, that's when it can all fall into place. This is a big part of my coaching, recognizing the emotional reasons for eating and tackling them and understanding them. Then we can address them. Not to mention dieting was miserable and unsustainable. I need to speed up a little bit. I was going to talk about the human diet. It's shocking to learn that when an animal is put into captivity and you try to feed it in as close a way to its natural diet as you can, but you just try and mimic its diet, it's impossible with man-made food. And so those animals do develop obesity as well as mental and physical ailments. And that's just a good example of an elephant. But, it's the same for humans. It's humans living in captivity. We're being fed by the food industry, and it's taken its toll, not just on our weight, but on that whole host of symptoms, which are usually to do with inflammation. So I'm not going to focus too much on this, but this is why it's not our fault. Now that we recognize that's what's going on, we've got to learn how to break free from that. Because of the typical client I coach, we already feel like we're doing really well. We're already thinking, well, I'm eating quite healthy already, but there's more we need to learn. So the 6 human hungers. First, we evolved to get most of our water through our food, particularly fruit when that was available. Sometimes when you've got a sweet craving, you actually need a glass of water, but it feels like hunger. So you can start to recognize that one. The next hunger that causes us to stay stuck is erratic blood sugars. When we're eating the modern foods, particularly things like sugar, bread, cake, pastries, those kinds of things, it's causing our blood sugars to be so erratic that we get this low and this kind of, oh, I'm so hungry, I've got to eat now, angry and seeking out sweet stuff and getting low energy. You're so low on energy. It's not lack of sleep, it's low blood sugar hunger. That's one of the first things that we address on this program, eliminating low blood sugar hunger through nutrition. The next one is the only true hunger, which is actually nutritional hunger. In most of us, there is a deficit in nutrients because of the way we're eating in the modern world. We're not eating anywhere near enough protein, minerals, vitamins, fiber, micronutrients, the whole works, right? Fats, we're not eating enough. Diets make that even worse. So we do the opposite. We add in really good quality proteins, vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds. We are satisfying nutritional hunger within the first couple of weeks. And that's where we start. So now you've got 3 hungers ticked off. Yeah. The next one that we've touched on is emotional hunger. And that's harder, but we go on to talk about emotional eating, comfort eating, and what that's telling us. With the pens, do the dialogue, and we understand what is driving that emotional desire for treat foods. Once we understand it, we can address it. We talk a lot about self-care, self-compassion, self-soothing, and tuning in to what your cravings, compulsions are telling you about what you need. We have strategies that a lot of people haven't even thought about before because they've just turned to chocolate. We have strategies for introducing, Vita's the same. It's like, oh, I'm cold, I'm lonely, I'm miserable, I've had a bad day, I've had a good day, chocolate. And yet chocolate's a lovely thing, but it doesn't actually help solve the problem that's causing the emotions. So we need to be clever in a kind of therapy, in a coach, in a kind of life coach way. It's look at what are those things that are coming up and how best to address those things in a supportive way rather than just turn into chocolate. But we don't do deprivation because that would make you feel deprived, and that's not supportive either. There's a really clever strategy to doing that. So when we start to satisfy all the hungers, what happens? We get nutritionally complete, probably for the first time ever. So hunger goes down. Blood sugar becomes stable. The afternoon slump goes. We get more energy. Our gut gets happier and starts to ease all our symptoms, and the cravings go. So there's a long list of things that increase energy, focus, clarity, motivation, mental well-being, and sleep. And sleep all improve. Muscle, fitness. And what decreases? Body fat is released naturally. The afternoon slump, cravings, inflammation, joint pain, stiffness, headaches, but also your risk of long-term chronic ailments. And in fact, diabetes, I am a diabetes reversal facilitator. This program reverses diabetes. We've got a clinical trial out there that has incredible success, and I've coached probably 10 people out of type 2 diabetes. So things like that is metabolic health that we're talking about. So these are the psychology steps you need to achieve weight release in a lasting and sustainable way. This is it in a nutshell. Eating in tune with the way our bodies evolved. That's about understanding the seasons and nourishing all six hungers in the right order. This program is founded on those two things. Then comes the behavior change psychology. I could tell you what to do, but it wouldn't be effective if we didn't address the mindset stuff, not just the emotional eating, but the associations. What about celebrations, social occasions, eating out, holidays, everything that has ever caused us to fall off a diet before? I was doing really well. And then I went on holiday and I blew it out the water. And then I couldn't get back on it after that. That's all to do with the food mindset. Rewiring this mindset and eating behaviors, not just for 90 days, but in a way that makes you want to live this way forever, because this really feels good. So it's the psychology, but it's also the experience that you get when you tune into this. Creating that lasting, stress-free relationship with food where you just know what to eat and you don't feel deprived. So the steps involved in that would be get properly nourished, rather than try and start with deprivation, portion control, and restriction, because that we know that doesn't work. But getting properly nourished on all the good stuff, that's first step. Next step, positive psychology. So when we're talking to ourselves, it's like, how celebrate our successes this week. What have you achieved this week? Well, I've been drinking more water. Hooray. Yeah. But if I got you weighing, oh, I haven't lost any weight this week. Oh, negative spiral. So it's about celebrating successes and seeing everything, whether it's following the plan or deviating, seeing everything in a positive light. When you are asked to make a particular swap one week, if you don't follow that, that's not failure. What did you do? Well, I had cake. Hooray! What was it like? Did it feel good in your body? Of course, you can see that what would happen would be, oh, well, what do you mean? It's good that I had cake? Of course it's good that you had cake. What did you experience? Well, actually, I didn't feel so good. And actually, it was too sweet. And afterwards, I thought, well, I didn't really need that. So this coaching in this positive way means that you'll never feel like a failure. You'll always feel like you're achieving something. And there's genuine learning from every experience. It doesn't mean that you have to be 100% compliant. Another key thing I've already touched on is when you make one change, you feel better. That's so important. Because now, if you make one change, like drinking water, you drink more water for a week, you feel better, your energy comes back, and you go, now I know that water is key to giving me more energy. Then on the next week, we get you adding in loads of really nutritious stuff, and you feel better. And you go, now I know that the key to feeling better is adding in nutritious stuff. And then we make some swaps, one at a time. With the first swap we make, you feel better. And you go, now I know that one swap is key to helping me feel better. So imagine if there were 5 or 6 of those. You've now got a toolbox you can pick and choose. These are principles that we're introducing in a logical order, that with each principle you feel better. So now at the end of the program, you've got a toolkit. You can pick and choose the ones that are most supportive for you. You will obviously never go hungry, because that's so important on this, to be properly nourished, because of the 6 human hungers. We got enough hungers to deal with without constantly dealing with nutritional hunger. You will always be asked to eat. If anybody enjoys intermittent fasting, absolutely, you can incorporate that. But generally speaking, we want everybody to be full and feeling satisfied all the time. Real foods, so it doesn't need products or supplements. Now, we talk a little bit about supplements just very quickly. Most of us probably need magnesium, and most of us, because we're in the UK, we probably need vitamin D. I'll leave that there. Apart from that, this is not a supplement program. This is about real food. It's learning really good skills with real food, creating your own convenience instead of old style supermarket aisle convenience. Okay, whole family, normal foods, bologneses, curries, casseroles, roasts, all the full set of normal foods, but it's just doing those in a fresh new way. And then food freedom lifestyle, But that's the bit that I call conscious gastronomy. And I shall certainly be enjoying some conscious gastronomy this weekend. You know, a glass of wine, a couple of chocolates, whatever it is, you're in control now. When you know that you don't crave it anymore, you're not dependent upon it, you can have it or not. It now becomes much more conscious, mindful, enjoyable, because you're not having it all the time. You're just enjoying a little bit of freedom here and there. So that's what I coach towards the end of the program. I think we've said all that. This is an example of one of my cohorts. I asked them to write on a card on their final call, what was the best thing? For some people, it's I lost 10 pounds, 17 pounds, 22 pounds, or 34 pounds. But for others, it's reduced pain and inflammation, feeling younger, food no longer controls me, you know? So these are the kinds of things. It's not always about weight. Everybody goes away really delighted with their results. And if they are not delighted with their results, there's a money back guarantee. Delighted. Pretty much 100% success. Super quick. I know we're coming to the end now. I'm just going to showcase a few success stories for you. Justine is one of the wonderful stories. She loves to share it. She joined because she was in pain and she got out of pain. She can get out of bed normally, whereas it used to take her 20 minutes because of the back inflammation. This was on her 90-day challenge. She released 38 pounds. She's gone on to release something like 4 stones. She's always on my Facebook. You can talk to her. She wasn't even there for weight loss. Lovely Lucy from One of Many. She was already slender, but she released a stone. The food relationship, much, much happier. She even noticed that her nails were stronger. That was another lovely photo. But it was the comfort eating for Lucy that she really wanted to get in control of. I mentioned Barb the other day. Sexy at 70. She's now released 4 stones and is just such a role model for what can be achieved, feeling much more energetic. Barb was already eating the Mediterranean diet. She's from Bristol. She knows how to live, fruit, vegetables, meat, fish, but there was something she wasn't getting right. And this changed everything. Angela, we all know and love Angela. She's a wonderful success case. Vita, one of your good friends. And Angela came to me having already released about 3 stones on Slimming World, but she knew that if she didn't do something with her food relationship, she was going to put it all back on again. So she released another couple of stones and she's now a role model, really enjoying the freedom. Donna is my kind of role model. COPD, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, menopause, diabetes, you name it, Donna had it. And everything's transformed for Donna and some significant weight release. For Donna, the most significant thing there was her confidence. The health, yeah, but the confidence now in front of the camera, because she's a life coach and she needed photos taken and she couldn't do the photos bit until she'd released some weight, not to mention reversing most of those conditions. She normally comes on these calls. She did say to me earlier that she's sorry she couldn't attend, but she normally comes on these. And then there's the men. Geraint reversed his diabetes. I think he released 44 pounds, 20 kilograms. That's a few stone. The men do release weight very efficiently. So if anybody's got a partner that needs this, I'm actually running a men's cohort in either February or March. So just bear that in mind. And then Wendy, again, 33 pounds, free from hip pain, more sparkle. So this is the call to action. If you are interested in exploring whether my 90-day program could be the next step for you, just jump on a call with me.